because she is hurting, even though she is laying down the tempo. Yuhualo to the left of picture. Such an experienced racer. Yima, third in rack last year in her personal best, but short of racing. Will that be a factor? Some athletes have been able to cram in a lot of races. For example, Salpeter, who is Israel, I was looking at her card last night. She's had track races and road races galore through 2020 somehow. And of course, athletes and coaches all have their various versions of what is best. Some like to race very little, just put in the hard months of training, do some time trials perhaps in training, and then come out to race and hit the racing circuit with a bang. Others like to build up with a series of races. What did you prefer, Mara?
I used to enjoy racing quite often. I didn't like to suddenly appear at a big race with many months of just training under my belt. Just wondered, Jep Koskai keeps glancing across. I wonder if she's looking for Jep Chichir there. Jep Koskai, of course, third on the all-time list for the half marathon with a PB of 64.51 from Valencia back in 2017.
Yeshane hits the front for the first time. Now the world record holder in a mixed half marathon with 64 minutes 31 seconds. That is a rarefied atmosphere type performance. Brilliant run. An Olympic 5,000 meter finalist too. She has great leg speed. Does Yeshane. And Ababal Yeshane just put in a slight acceleration. I sensed then, oh my word, can you believe it? They were so close together, and I think, dear oh dear, Jep Kosgai went down really hard. A grimace from her. Yuhualo, Yeshane went down. It's just lack of concentration. It's a straight, flat piece of road, and to start banging into each other is disappointing. It really is. It's unnecessary. Look at the gaps now. 1-4-1 there. Yeshane, I was just talking about, had hit the front, looked to be making a move, considering making a move with about half a lap to run, 54.5 minutes on the clock, and bang, down she went. That is so unfortunate. We've already seen the defending World Half Marathon champion crash to the ground earlier in the race, and her effort to retain her title looked to have been really badly affected by that. But that is a race-defining fall there from Yeshane and indeed Joycelyn Jep Kosgai. Let's have a look at that fall again. Disastrous. They're so close together, and there's no need to be this close together. There, you can see Yeshane. And it was Jep Kosgai who, I mean, Yeshane, you don't want to apportion blame, Mara, but Yeshane was running along in front, and Jep Kosgai there was just too close to her. They'd been squeezed against the curb. You can see Yeshane there has a little glance over her shoulder. It was all getting a little bit too cozy. You could have literally thrown a blanket over that little group of five, and that is the consequence, I'm afraid. And that has really opened it up. The German Kejeta didn't suffer from that fall, and is now battling for a medal. Yuhualo taking advantage of that fall. I think when you get into the latter stages of the race like this, maybe team spirit and camaraderie becomes very much a secondary notion, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that fall has just opened the race up completely now. Yuhualo suddenly in contention to win this race.
Well, a fall at 54 minutes for Yeshane, the world record holder in a mixed race. Indeed, the world record holder on a legal course for any woman. Was absolutely disastrous. And all of a sudden, of course, the team race is put in jeopardy. The team win, which we've been talking about for a couple of laps now for the Ethiopians, which they looked to have sewn up. And these three are away.
Tim, if Kejeta makes it onto the podium, she will be the first European since Lorna Kiplagat back in 2008 to win a medal.
So that fall coming at what, about 18 kilometres? Something like that. Jep Chichir, who was towards the back of the group when the fall happened, managed to stay clear. And you don't want to see races decided by falls, do you? By accidents like that. It leaves a slightly dissatisfactory taste in the mouth, so to speak. Maybe they'll be able to come back, I don't know. But Jepchirchir, who had already done a lot of leading, a lot of little bursts and accelerations, now at the front, and I don't think she's going to let them come back. I think she's a smart enough racer to know that she has an opportunity now to keep the pressure up and stay away from those behind.
Yeah, when an accident like that happens this late in the race, that those who manage to escape it really have to take advantage. It's a bit cruel though it sounds.
So Yahualo still moving well. On paper, well, considerably slower than Jepchirchir. Jepchirchir's 65.34, remember, came in a women's only race in Prague. That was on the 5th of September, so she has that great recent form. We mentioned that earlier. Yahualo, by contrast, after big races last year, has had a huge gap between the Rack Half Marathon back in February and then the 15k trial, Ethiopian trial, but she did win that, and we have to remember that trial at what, some 8,000 feet altitude was in Addis Ababa. The Ethiopians had a very small number. The federation put on this trial race with literally just 10 or 12 athletes in each field, men and women, and picked the teams from that trial race. There was no messing about. They made it very straightforward. The first few athletes in each race got selected.
Yeah, it proves recent form, doesn't it? Which in a year like this with disrupted competition and training is so important. She has a half marathon best of 66.01, so very much able to be up with Jepchirchir, no question. But Kejeta, is she going to spring a surprise and get onto the medal podium?
Well, Jepchirchir is a very, very smart racer. And since becoming a mother, it took her a long time to come back. Spent a couple of years coming back. Perez Jepchirchir had her daughter Natalia in December 2017. Was really away from the racing scene for some 12 or 18 months. Has eased back into it and reached the really highest level. And so often, of course, when athletes come back from becoming a mother, they come back stronger.
Yeah, I think we can definitely say that about Jepchirchir. Phenomenal women's only world record in Prague just 6 or so weeks ago, and I think she looks the most comfortable of that trio as they approach the finish. So just about 5 minutes or so left of running.
Well, she hasn't had pacemakers today, but as you said earlier, Mara, she exclaimed after that women's only world record that she could have gone faster if she'd had pacemakers, alluding to the fact, of course, that others who have set world records with men had a big advantage. She's made a lot of the pace here today, though. If she were to come out with the gold medal, she will have done more than her fair share of the leading and the work towards gaining that gold. But it's far from a foregone conclusion because Yahualo is moving well. 1 hour on the clock now. Jepchirchir right beside her, stride for stride, and Kejeta, the German, just tucked in behind them. The surprise package of the race, there's no doubt about that. Came to Germany from Ethiopia back in 2013. She's coached by one Winfried Aufenanger. Won the Frankfurt Half Marathon this year. Was only 11th at the Rack Half Marathon, although even 11th in that race, which produces fabulously fast times year after year each February, is still pretty strong. But you look at her track pedigree and it's just, as things stand, I suspect it needs to be rewritten. Her track pedigree doesn't give any hint of her ability to live with a pace like this. Now 61.5 minutes on the clock, Mara. They've only got about 3 or 4 minutes to run. Is anybody going to cut loose and try and kick away early? 2 Ethiopians chasing hard, but they're 50, 60 metres down, maybe more. Hard to tell with that foreshortening effect of the camera. It could be 60 or 70 metres. Here's that gap, and I can't see that being closed as they head now down towards the boulevard along the coast. They've literally only got about 1,200 metres to run.
Tim, Kejeta's PB up to now was 68.41, so if she's around about 65 minutes and seconds, that's going to be an enormous PB. So through 20k there in 1:02.11 or so.
Well, they have slowed a little bit. That puts them on schedule for something like 65.30, 65.40. But the times don't matter, and Jeb Chirchir puts her foot down. Decides enough is enough. Attacks just before this little downhill towards the coast. This is reminiscent of the Great North Run, that famous half marathon up in the northeast of England, where the athletes reach the coast with a very steep downhill, much steeper than this. Now Jeb Chirchir leans in there. Yahualo grabs the inside line. Every movement now matters. Are they going to play cat and mouse over this final few hundred metres? There's one of them going to go very early. Yahualo running the shortest line. Jeb Chirchir tucked into her slipstream. Kejeta of Germany looks very calm. She's the tallest of the three, striding alongside them, matching them literally step for step, and looking fantastic. These three are the individual medalists, there's no doubt about that. They're into the final kilometre. And Kejeta of Germany continues to surprise each kilometre that clicks by. There will be a European, surely, on the rostrum in this 2020 edition of the World Athletics Half Marathon Championships from Gdynia, but what colour will her medal be? Yahualo continues to press and ask the questions. 3 big wins in 2019 in major half marathon races. Second in Delhi last year in her only defeat over the half marathon distance, and that was in 66.01. So she's almost as quick as Jeb Chirchir over the full half marathon distance. The gap behind them has grown, there's no doubt about that. This dust up for the medals is drawing them further clear. And Kejeta gets her nose in front. The last time a European won the World Half Marathon Championships, well, you have to go back years and years. You have to go back to Konstantina Chemescu-Dita, funnily enough. Well, apart from Lorna Kiplagat, that is, in 2008. But Konstantina Dita winning 2005 for Kiplagat's trio of wins for the Netherlands in 06, 07, 08. And as they come towards the last sprint onto the beach now, Yahualo in the lead. Jeb Chirchir in her slipstream. Kejeta in third place, just beginning to let that psychological elastic stretch. I'm not sure she can go with the 2 Africans in front of her. The German has done tremendously well. She's going to get a medal. Looks like bronze at the moment. As Jeb Chirchir hits the front. Yahualo maybe misread the course there. I'm not sure. But Jeb Chirchir sprints as Yahualo trips on a corner there of one of the boards that is laid on the beach and heads for goal. It is going to be gold for Kenya in Gdynia. Jeb Chirchir punches the air as she crosses the line. 65.15 unofficially. Kejeta maybe taking second place there ahead of Yahualo, who just had that little stumble about 50 metres out. 65.16 for the Kenyan. She regains the world title. She lifted in Cardiff in 2016. Kejeta 65.18, a fabulous run from her. The German has smashed her personal best out of the ballpark, and Yahualo the bronze for Ethiopia. Yima and Yeshanor in 4th and 5th, 65.39, 65.41, ensuring Ethiopia take the team gold. And Jeb Koska there finishing in 6th place by the looks of things. Suffering from that fall a few minutes ago, so unlucky, along with the defending champion Gudeta.
All 3, Tim, under the previous women's only world record, and a new German record from Kejeta.
1 hour, 5 minutes and 18 seconds, 2 seconds behind the first.
Well, those times are extraordinary. The championship record was 66.11 by Gudeta in Valencia. Improved by nearly a minute today by Jeb Chirchir. Perez Jeb Chirchir at the age of 27. Surely, too, with the nature of that race, it even tops her gold 4 years ago in Cardiff. and she did so much of the leading too. And it does certainly add kudos to her claim, Mara, that she could have gone quicker than her women's only world record of 65.34, and of course that time, if confirmed, 65.16, is a women's only world record. Here's the pole, moving well. Jankovic, 155, tucked in behind her. And that is Hottenrott of Germany. She won't be aware, I'm sure, that her compatriot has taken the silver medal. Kajeta. Lovely smile there from Perez Jepchirchir, who's a really sweet, delightful young lady, very gentle character, easy to interview, easy to chat to. Said after her win in Prague 5 weeks ago she could have gone faster. That was a 65.34 women's only world record. Well, she improves it today by what, some 18 seconds.
And her second title at these World Half Marathon Championships, following her win back in 2016.
Great to see the Kenyan team there sharing their thoughts, maybe a prayer or two. Different fortunes though for that Kenyan trio. Jep Kosgei going down so hard at around 17 or 18 kilometres. There's Salpeta, 68.29 unofficially for her, still really strong running.
Fast times all round, Tim. So third and fourth, Yahualo and Yima PBs. National record for Kajeta. Also a national record for Yasmin Chan of Turkey in 7th.
Well, here is Jankovic, Isabella Pashkovic, I should say, excuse me. Running alongside Hottenrott of Germany. They've kept each other company for a few kilometres now. And they will have their own little battle towards the line. Laura Hottenrott is a 71.56 performer. She's going to beat that by a couple of minutes, maybe more. Indeed, Pashkovic has never broken 70 minutes. Her personal best, 71.33. Well, she's going to probably break 70 minutes here today. The times going back down the field are fantastically quick. And just looking at the number of athletes who have gone under 70 minutes, we might well see the greatest half marathon in history in depth here. Pashkovic then, trying to go with Chidzivo of Zimbabwe. She too is heading for a huge personal best. Her lifetime best, 72 minutes 40. She's going to break that by some 2.5 minutes. 70 minutes has just clicked by for Pashkovic. But when you look at her personal best of 71.33, as we see these other athletes sprinting for the line, and the Portuguese giving a good account of themselves, running as a pack, clearly there, 3 of them crossing the line, almost tied together. Borelli of Italy coming through, the Ukraine's Prokofieva, then Flores of Portugal in those famous green and red colours. Another of the Germans coming through. There is Hottenrott. Well, her lifetime best 71.33.